Just another crisis in NYC.
Police say it happened just after 3 p.m., 3:07. And as you said, on the subway train in a number 4 car. And as it was pulling into this station at 167th Street and River Avenue, police say there was a dispute in the subway car. The 61-year-old man was stabbed in the left side of the abdomen with an unknown sharp object.
If it feels like crime is up on the subways, NYPD numbers suggest that's because it is. An increase in just about 13% since last year.
Taking the trains right now is the worst thing that someone can go through.
It can happen to anybody, including a young pregnant woman attacked Sunday night at the 168th Street station in Washington Heights.
It sure can happen to anybody. No one is off limits anymore. You could be male, female, elderly, young, a child. No one is off limits. These crimes are being committed on a regular basis, and we've got to ask ourselves, why? Why is this happening? Why?
Her own sister forced to step in.
She pushed my sister really hard. She was about to fall.
Yeah, just a very scary story as police are on the hunt for that suspect behind Sunday's unprovoked subway attack. Well, that's a 64-year-old Abu Khan was just waiting for the train before he fell onto the tracks.
And he kicked me in my back, and I threw out and fall onto the track. I said, I'm gonna die anytime.
Let's get straight to the photo that police have released. Now, this is the person believed to have been behind this all. Police say this is the person who came up to Khan, stated something to him just before he kicked him in the back, causing him to fall onto the track.
Now, I made sure that I included in this video a lot of clips of these actual perpetrators because these people need to be rounded up and taken off our streets. This is unacceptable. Tolerating this sort of nonsense, that has to come to an abrupt end. More sooner than later, like immediately. This cannot be tolerated.
Well, thankfully, the victim who had just finished his shift at the post office was rescued by 3 fellow riders who reached down, lifted him to safety as the train was pulling in. Well, police are also on the hunt for the person who slashed train conductor Alton Scott at the Rockaway Avenue subway station in Brooklyn just last week.
2 days prior, a 27-year-old attacked, police say, by a suspect with a box cutter who had made anti-gay remarks just prior.
24-year-old Justin Hurd, 38-year-old Betty Cotto, and 42-year-old Alfredo Trinidad are each charged with murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a...
I didn't mean to cut it off right then and there, but, what's done is done. But I'm glad to see that this is a step in the right direction and that they're doing something. Get these deviants off our streets. That's it. Plain and simple. I have no sympathy for them. You want to go out and you want to commit crime, then that's it. Everything else is forfeit to you. You need to just be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Weapon. Police say the suspects were picked up just before noon yesterday at an apartment in the Bronx after the fatal encounter was caught on security camera footage.
So good evening. I'm Chief Michael Kemper. I'm the Chief of Transit for the NYPD. Let me start right off by saying we don't believe this was a random shooting. We don't believe this was just an individual shooting indiscriminately onto a train. We believe this shooting all stemmed from a dispute between 2 groups that started on a train.
All right, some disturbing details there shared during this news conference. Police and investigators revealing that this started out as a fight between 2 groups late this afternoon on the 4 train that pulled into the Mount Eden train station. And as that train pulled up to the platform and the doors opened, that is when the shots rang out. As a result, 4 males and 2 females were shot. A 34-year-old male we know has died from his injuries.
Governor Hochul is planning on making an announcement just tomorrow on any future plans of adding law enforcement personnel onto subway trains.
Now she's pro-law enforcement? Now she wants to do something about it. People are dying. People are just being murdered for nothing. For the most insignificant of reasons, people's lives are just being taken away. Doing regular routine activities like going to school or going to work. Let's see what the governor has to say about this.
We will make people feel more safe with police, with more police on the subway station. Yes, people want to see that. They've been asking for it. We're going to give them. But there's also a lot involved in people dealing with mental health crises on the subway. And so when you talk to the chief of the transit police, he would tell you that 80% of the problems or more are stemmed from that situation.
There you have it, right? You see that? And what did she say? We will make people feel safe. The key words there being make and feel. Not we're going to assure the safety of our New York City transit goers and transit employees with not only elevated police presence, but perhaps private security services, also by assuring that when criminals are apprehended, that they are detained and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. You don't hear any of that, right? No. You don't hear anything like that. Instead, she's passing the buck right on down to mental illness. Not the shitty policies that she chooses to endorse. It isn't that, no. Not at all. Because we all know that this doesn't have anything to do with defunding the police department, right? Or obligating a large number of emergency service personnel in general to have to quit or retire ahead of schedule, right? Because of unconstitutional vaccine mandates? Perhaps it's because of that? No, maybe not, right? I guess not, right? Does it have anything to do with siphoning funds to programs that help facilitate the invasion of New York City and the United States in general? No, nothing like that, right? Nope. Nothing to see here, guys. It's mental illness. Everybody's crazy. That's the culprit. But rest assured, guys, she's on it. She's going to do something about it. Like a true demon. Like the true demon she is. Maybe she'll roll out a couple of R2-D2s, some more drones, sprinkle in some more cameras, more mass surveillance. Problem solved. Easy peasy.
And here's what some other subway riders had to say about whether or not they feel safe riding the subways.
It's tragic that people have to get stabbed in their own community, and most likely is by someone from their own ethnicity.
It's unfortunate, but this gentleman is correct. He is absolutely correct. These crimes are being committed by the same people within our own communities. That's who's doing it. That's what he said. He believes that. I think it's true. Okay? These crimes are being committed by young people involved in gang activities, individuals who know one another and are just perhaps squabbling over money or drugs, nonsense like that. In some cases, they young people just do this just for the shock value. You can believe it or not. Just to brag to their friends. Look what I did. It's true. But this isn't mental illness, though. Now, yeah, there could be some of these things could be contributed to mental illness, but no, not 80%. Certainly not 80%. She claims 80% or more. And then, of course, there is those who just want to rob and steal from others just because they can. And why? Little to no consequences. That's why. Okay? That's why.
And police say at this time they don't know if the two men knew one another. Law enforcement sources are saying that the victim is not being cooperative. There's no motive in this, and there's no description of the man with the sharp object who did the stabbing other than to say he was wearing a black jacket.
Seriously? Seriously? No motive? The victim isn't being cooperative? That's because they know each other. And on a train packed with people at 3 p.m, there is no description other than he's wearing a black jacket? Come on. This is the nonsense I'm talking about. Where people just don't want to say what an individual looks like. Look, if guys are committing crime and we can't describe them, then what the hell are we, how are we supposed to catch them? You gotta wait 4 days later? No, man. No. like homeboy just said, it's probably somebody of your own ethnicity. And why would a victim be uncooperative with the police if he was just stabbed? This is the nonsense that needs to stop. Well, just remember, folks, remember this. This needs to be fixed very like ASAP. And also remember this.
We will make people feel more safe with police, with more police on the subway station. Yes, people want to see that.
When Andrew Cuomo's hand-picked co-conspirator during the COVID-19 lockdowns, Kathy Hochul, became governor of New York State, Hochul's first act was appointing her lieutenant governor, one of the biggest supporters of the Defund the Police movement, Brian Benjamin, even though she knew he was under federal investigation for political corruption, ultimately arrested and forced to resign. Now we know why she supports criminals over victims.